Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness here on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Google MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in tonight, then great. If he doesn't, then we will see him tomorrow night for College Football Thursday. All right, guys, we have a lot to go into tonight. First, we're going to go into the AEW All Out. Then we're going to follow it with NXT 2.0. And then we're going to be finishing it with tonight's AEW Dynamite show. A lot to get through. Major breaking news coming out of AEW tonight as two titles have now been vacated. However, we have resolutions on both fronts, and we'll get into all that tonight because a lot happened between Sunday night and tonight that really went crazy over the weekend. A lot of negative publicity on the direction of AEW. And yeah, I mean, what a crazy summer this has been. And what a tide turner more than anything else. You know, we were literally just months ago talking about the possible demise of WWE. And now, just a few months later, and we're already talking about maybe the possible demise of AEW. Crazy stuff that broke out. However, before we get into all that, everything, we need to get into All Out. We'll get into that tonight. So let's just dive right on in. We had 4 pre-show fights. Obviously, we're not going to get into it. However, we did start it off with the Jericho Appreciation Society members, as it was Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello. They went up against Ortiz and Ruby Soho. This was for the AAA Mixed Tag Team Championships, and the champions remained the champions. Ty Mello and Sammy Guevara won the match in 6 minutes. Then we had Hook versus Angelo Parker for the FTW Championship. Hook wins the match in 3 minutes and 55 seconds. Then we had Kip Sabian versus Pac for the All-Atlantic Championship, and it was Pac successfully defending the title in 12 minutes and 25 seconds. In the main event, we had Eddie Kingston versus Tomohiro Ishii. Eddie Kingston won the match in 13 minutes and 25 seconds. All right. Then we had, to start it off, was the Casino Ladder match, and the people who were involved in the match was Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Penta El Zero Miedo, Rey Fenix, Rush, Andrade El Idolo, and Dante Martin. And of course, there was a Joker. Well, at the end of the match, a whole bunch of guys ran out, and Stokely Hathaway, retrieved the little diamond, retrieved a poker chip, which symbolized that person would receive a future shot at the AEW World title. So the Joker, that this person was known as, won the match and got the shot at the title at 14 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, if you really think about it, in the scope of it, right out of jump, you're thinking, horrible booking. How could you do that? Why would you do something that idiotic? That's something that WWE would have done back in the day. That seemed a little lazy or whatnot. It makes sense later in the night. At the moment when we saw this happening, we're like, okay, who's the Joker now? I think we know who it is, but it makes no sense at the time. I thought for Stokely Hathaway to do what he did was absolutely atrocious, because this was literally, and I'm going to take a book out of this, this was like Money in the Bank when I had it in my head too. God damn it. James Ellsworth grabbed the Money in the Bank to pass it off to Carmella to win the women's Money in the Bank. And if you remember that night on that event, myself, Anthony Florio, but more importantly, Michael Bullock, and yes, Dee Dee Woodson, she was here that night, they went off. Like, literally went off and flipped. I kind of felt the same way. I was about to go on a Cerebral Viper rant until I saw the events of later in the evening. Then it made sense to me what had happened. But at the time, I would have cried foul. I would have been pissed off. I would have been flipping. I don't even know how to rate this match, honestly, because of the fact that it was really an unknown winning the match, stealing the opportunity from 7 other worthy competitors. Again, I would have flipped out in the sense of it. So, Anthony Florio, I'm going to rate this an NA.
Agreed.
For me personally. Because, honest to God, I don't even know how I would have been able to rate that.
You don't have to.
I would love to hear, and I'm inclined to hear what you have to say about the whole thing.
Weird way to end what was an exciting match. The crowd seemed totally deflated by what happened. Everything else was good, but the way this ended had a big impact on how people will view this match. And I'm not, now, because we have a lot to get into tonight, I'm not going to get into my, notable observations and other things that I usually do, because we got a very loaded show tonight because of so much content. But I'm just going to keep it short and sweet and to the point. Hopefully we can all do that here tonight. So, but we'll get into the detail for the good stuff. Trust me, we will. But for right now, I'm with you, MF. This is going to have to be an NA. If I had to put a rating on it, it would probably be about 3 to 3.25 for the effort. But this is an NA. There's no doubt about it. And I'm glad we got a payoff at the end. So we'll get into that. But for right now, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, obviously this is going to be an NA, but a quick thought on this match.
Yeah, this was an NA for me because, like you said, I mean, you basically just took away an opportunity from 7 other worthy, from 7 other worthy competitors that deserved the opportunity. But yeah, I didn't like this at the time until, well, we'll get into the outcome of it later on. But anywho, this was an NA for me, so let's move on, Fletch.
All right, then we had the finals of the World Trios Tag Team Tournament, as it was the Elite, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega going up against Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order, the winners of the tournament in 19 minutes and 50 seconds, and the first ever AEW Trios Champions, the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
One of the fights of the night for sure. This was 4.5 stars for me. I'll tell you what, I mean, the first half of the match was not as chaotic as some may have expected. They used tags and kept the double and triple team spots limited, so they had more impact when used. Once things started to get going, we saw fewer tags and more big spots. And Page and Omega tagged themselves in so they could have a proper fight. And the buckshot lariat, Page with the accidental buckshot lariat to John Silver, and Kenny Omega scoring the winning fall. The Elite are your first Trios champions. This bout had a little bit of everything, but the outcome seemed to deflate a crowd that wanted the Dark Order and the Hangman to walk out as the inaugural AEW Trios World Champions. So, fantastic match. You can make an argument for fight of the night. You certainly can. I wouldn't be mad at it. So I'll give it 4.5 stars for the effort. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, a predictable outcome, but boy, howdy, what a match.
Yeah, this was a predictable outcome, but like you said, what a match it was. I mean, 4.5 stars. I mean, yeah, the crowd did seem a little bit deflated because obviously they wanted Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order to be the trios champion, and yeah, unfortunately, they didn't get what they wanted. We got Omega and the Young Bucks to come out as the first ever trios champion. So yeah, 4.5 stars is my rating on it. It's yours, Blige.
4.5. I totally agree with what you guys just said. Yes, I did sense the little bit of disappointment coming from the crowd as well. After the crowning of the new tag champions, or I should say the trio tag champions. I could understand why there was that, but I don't know. I mean, it was still a solid match for what it was worth. Next up, we had was Jade Cargill versus Athena for the TBS Championship. Jade Cargill wins the match, 4 minutes and 20 seconds, successfully defending the championship. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Man, I'll tell you this, guys. I mean, I thought for sure Athena was going to be the one to dethrone Jade Cargill and the run, but no, a surprising outcome. I mean, Jade Cargill, I mean, not only won the match, but she dominated Athena, and right now she looks like an unstoppable TBS champion. I mean, if Athena was your best your best opportunity, I mean, was the best person to dethrone her, and now you have her lose. My only question is now, who's going to dethrone her? That's my only question. I mean, I hope one of you guys has an answer for it, because I certainly don't. But yeah, because it was a short match, I mean, I'm going to give this only 1 star for the effort here. I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, I thought Athena was going to end it, but end the reign of Jade Cargill, but it continues. And look, say what you want about her, Jade Cargill is, and I'm going to say it right now. I know I've said it before, but I'm going to reiterate it right here, right now. Jade Cargill is the most dominant female right now in professional wrestling. I mean, that undefeated record and her holding that TBS title, I mean, it's no disrespect to the other women wrestlers out there right now, but Jade Cargill is the best out there in professional wrestling right now when it comes to women. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
You know what? I gotta say it. I knew it. I called it. I predicted this. I knew this was gonna happen. I felt it. I even Anthony, you know it. I called it, Florio. I predicted that this was gonna happen, that Jade was gonna win it. And she did. They are giving her the Goldberg push from WCW. She is gonna hold that belt until somebody takes it out. And the problem is now, like you said, Michael Bullock, they're starting to wipe out the division. You had Chris Statlander, she failed. You gave her Athena, she failed. I mean, I don't know where to go with this. There's not that many face stars right now that can actually dethrone Jade Cargill. I don't know. I think she might be she might be a champion for a long time. And I agree with you on one thing, Michael Bullock. She is the best female wrestler in the world today. I'm sorry. I know I just offended a lot of WWE marks. I know I offended a lot of NXT, AEW marks, NXT marks, whatever. But hey, point blank, straight up. You want to know who the best is? That is it right there. Jay Cargill. And there's really nothing more to say. So Anthony Florio, yeah, it was a 1 to 1.5 star match. It's yours.
I'm going to be a little more generous. I'm going to give it 2. Athena came close to winning a few times, but Cargill able to hit Jaded for the win to extend her winning streak to 37-0. This was one of Cargill's better matches, but she still shows some hesitancy at times. Athena looked good, but she and Jade, they seem to have a slight lack of chemistry, and that's why we got to call this the worst fight of the night, to be honest with you. And now who? I think the best bet, unfortunately, just had knee surgery, and she's going to be out for God knows how long. I don't know why, but I'm still thinking it's going to be Statlander. I mean, I don't know why, but Athena failed. All these others have failed, and yeah, now who? This would have been I think this would have been the perfect time to take it off of Cargill, give it to Athena, and you could have had her run with it. She's capable of it, but it is what it is. But nothing we can do about it. And until she gets beaten, MF has hit the nail on the head. She, whether you like her or you don't, you damn sure have to put some respect on her name, because she is the best women's wrestler in the world today. Until someone beats her. At this rate, it's probably not going to be for a long, long time. So that's it. 2 stars for me. It is the worst fight of the night. It's agree to disagree on that. So not much more to say. Continue on.
Next up we had was Wardlow and FTR. They went up against Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. And it was Wardlow and FTR winning in 16 minutes and 30 seconds. This was a fun match. Solid battle. Good all over the place and everything that broke down. I really liked I thought it was a solid end to it. It was a good match. I could give this about 3 to 3.25. There was a really awesome moment at the end where I think it was Dax Harwood's little daughter showed up and basically they beat it up on Sanjay Dutt, if I remember. I think it was Sanjay Dutt that got beaten up, and basically she got to do got a 1, 2, 3 by the referee. So that was a cool little something, a little cool for the fans, in Chicago. But as far as the actual body of work and the match itself, 3 to 3.25 solid match. Anthony, it's yours.
3.5 stars for me. This bout did not have as many multi-man spots as the previous trios match on the card, and it actually made it easier to follow. You always knew who was legal at any given time, which is important in situations like this. This match had some good spots and gave us a preview of what an FTR versus Motor City Machine Guns match might look like. However, Wardlow was the star here. And when it looked like the heels would attack after the match, the Ring of Honor television champion Samoa Joe made his way to the ring to help out Wardlow and FTR. And fantastic match here. This was a 3.5 star match for me, teetering on 3 3/4 for the effort. So there isn't much to say. Michael Bullock, for the first time, you got to see Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley of the Motor City Machine Guns wrestle in a match. MF and I, it's nothing new for us, but you got to see them for the first time, Bullock. So your thoughts on the match, and how did the Motor City Machine Guns look in your first ever time viewing them?
I thought the Motor City Machine Guns looked really good. I mean, hey, you guys seen them more than I have, and this was my first time ever getting to see them in action. And boy, howdy, I mean, they were great. I mean, this match was really good. 3.5 stars is my rating on it. I mean, a fun match. I mean, could have been better, but you know what? It was good for what it was. And I loved what happened after the match. I mean, when Dax Harwood's daughter came out and basically took that pencil from that, shall we say, Florio, that that pretty boy hair gel wearing douchebag
Well, he's
Sunday.
bald. Well, he has no. Well, with all due respect, he has no hair. He's bald.
He's
But
He's a bald-headed douchebag.
Yeah, exactly. But he's a bald-headed douchebag. I
he
mean,
used to call him. He used to call himself the original player from the Himalaya. Yeah, he ain't no player.
He ain't no player anymore.
yeah, the only player that he's part of is the player of douchebag. I mean,
Yeah, he got what he deserved. He got what he deserved at the end, and that's definitely going to be a special moment for young girls and young kids alike. Absolutely.
yeah, especially after he called Dax Harwood's daughter a brat, which I'm not even going to dignify that comment. And AEW, please do me a favor. Do not ever hand this guy a mic. I mean, this guy is just so freaking annoying. I almost feel like I just want to cover my damn ears when he's talking. So, but yeah, the rest of the team got their comeuppance too, thanks to the return of the ROH TV champion Samoa Joe. And you know what would have really made it even more better?
The Coquita Clutch.
And I would have loved to see him put the Coquita Clutch on Sanjay Dutt. Yeah, that would have been the perfect way to put a smile on my face.
Oh, he has. He has an Impact Wrestling. Trust me on that.
Oh, I'd love to see him do it again. So, 3.5 stars. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, when he did it, actually Sanjay Dutt was actually really good. He was a really good wrestler at the time. He wasn't this jerk of a
Heart and soul, one of the heart and souls of the X division.
Yeah, I mean it was if you remember back then, it was AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, him, Shark Boy. Shark Boy, not really, but he was still in there. But you had Chris Sabin, you had Alex Shelley, Petey Williams, Eric Young. So, I mean, there was at least a good 10 guys that was running the X division that made it must-see TV every time out. Every time they had their match, they were really good, especially in the early years.
And let's not forget about the greatest match in TNA history.
The Unbreakable Three-Way. Yeah.
You got it.
Unbreakable Three-Way. There's really nothing more to say there. I mean, go out of your way, go on YouTube. Not now, but after the show is over, go on YouTube and watch the match.
Impact Plus.
Yep. So next up we had was Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks. Powerhouse Hobbs wins the match in 5 minutes and 5 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
Second worst fight of the night. And MF, I'll give you credit again because, I mean, you had Cargill winning earlier, and I believe you also had Powerhouse Hobbs winning this match. So I'll give you all the credit in the world. It was the second worst fight of the night. This was about 2 1/4, 2.5. This match was too short, and the booking was a little weird, but it's likely the story is far from over. So maybe we'll get a rematch at the earliest possible date. At this time, I don't know what it is, but, we'll have to find out. Maybe the Rampage Grand Slam. I don't know. Possible. Well, we'll see. But 2 1/4, 2.5 stars. And Michael Bullock, all I got to say is a surprising outcome here. I thought Ricky Starks was going to win this match based on the momentum he had. But I'll tell you what, at the same time, big win for Powerhouse Hobbs. Maybe his biggest win of his career.
Yeah, many people had Ricky Starks winning this one, but nope, they got a cold hard dose with what Powerhouse Hobbs is made of, and boy, howdy, he showed Ricky Starks who he was made of. So I'm going to give this about 1.5 stars. It's yours, Fletch.
So next up we had was Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaim for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Winners of the bout in 22 minutes and 30 seconds. And still, the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Keith Lee, Swerve Strickland. I believe this goes to Michael Bullock. So, Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm going to give this 4 stars as my rating for this. I thought this was an amazing match, but the thing is, Fletch, the thing that really shocked a lot of people, the fans looked like they turned on they turned on Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee.
Yeah,
because they they're so into the Acclaim right now, and they really wanted to see the Acclaim win the AEW World Tag Team titles, and boy howdy, they were pissed all over it, and so much so, Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee got booed, and quite frankly, I mean, Swerve Strickland, I mean, you expect him to get booed, but Keith Lee, I mean, I feel bad for this guy. I mean, he's one of the hardest working guys. I mean, we saw what he did in NXT, and of course now in AEW, and now he's getting booed. So I don't know. Do I smell a heel turn coming for Swerve in Our Glory? I could see it happening, but we'll wait and see. But 4 stars is my rating, and like I said, Fletch, the fans turned on Swerve in Our Glory because they really wanted to see the Acclaim win those titles.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I totally agree with everything you just said there. 4 stars is the rating. This was an incredible match, but like you also alluded to, yeah, the fans turned on Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. The Acclaim is massively over, like beyond massively over, and that I think was the shocking thing more than anything else. But at the end of the day, that's what happens. That's the situation we have, and yeah. So Swerve in Our Glory wins the match, and they keep the belts, so it's theirs. Anthony, you want to talk about bizarro crowds? This is one of those situations, especially in Chicago.
I think two other words would have been more appropriate for the Acclaim, and that is ridiculously over.
Yeah,
I think we need to try that. So, with all due respect to MF and Bullock, I'm sorry guys, I think you underscored this just a little bit. I'm gonna surprise some people. This to me was my fight of the night. This was 4.5, teetering on 4 3/4 of a star, man. I mean, oh my gosh, traditional tag team matches are so much easier to follow than trios bouts. So this was a fun, fast-paced performance that was also easy to follow. Yeah, the crowd and the crowd seemed to wake back up after being a little quiet over the previous match's outcome. And Keith and Bullock, and you guys said it, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland acting more like heels helped get the crowd behind the Acclaimed even more than it already was. But more importantly, it allowed them to tell a better story. This match was outstanding, but the crowd was very upset at the outcome. But the thing is, they don't have to be upset for too much longer, because now, gentlemen, 2 weeks from tonight, at Arthur Ashe Stadium, as part of AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, the Acclaimed are going to get another opportunity at Swerve in Our Glory for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. And I'm going to make a bold prediction right here and right now. I'm calling for the Acclaimed to become the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. I think that's the perfect stage to do it, and a perfect venue, and if they do it, oh boy, the roof that's on Arthur Ashe Stadium is gonna come straight off if them boys win the belt, and I think they're going to. So that's just my thought on it. Fight of the night for me, 4.5, teetering on 4 3/4 of a star. I think if the Acclaim had won in a little bit more, maybe I would have pulled the trigger and given it 5. But the Shakespearean drama, the near falls, the crowd, commentary, everything was top notch in this. So there isn't much more to say here. Fight of the night, 4.5, 4 3/4, and in 2 weeks, MF, I believe in my heart of hearts, the Acclaimed are going to be your next AEW World Tag Team Champions come Grand Slam.
All right, next up we had was for the interim AEW Women's World Title, Toni Storm versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Uchida. Winner of the bout in 14 minutes and 20 seconds. And now the interim AEW Women's Champion, Toni Storm. Anthony called it. He went on a hunch on this one. I went with Jamie Hayter just because I thought she deserved the moment. But All the dirt sheets were predicting Tony was going to win it. I felt like that was going to be lazy booking if they would have done that, but they did it. They pulled the trigger. Because even the rumors going around, if Thunder Rosa was going to fight Toni Storm like they were going to supposed to, Tony was still going to win the belt. They were pushing for Tony to become the new AEW Women's World Champion regardless. So I do believe that now that when Thunder Rosa versus Tony happens, Toni Storm will become the undisputed champion when it's all said and done. So that, spoiler alert, I'm giving that out right now. That's my prediction. This was about a 3.5 to 4-star match. It was a solid battle. It was great. But you also saw there is friction between Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker. Baker broke up a moment where Jamie Hayter was about to win the title, and Jamie got pissed at Dr. Britt. So there's already trouble in paradise with those two ladies. I hope Rebel is able to smooth that over, but I don't know. I think she's ready to brawl with Dr. Britt. But Anthony, just like how I got two of them, you got this one, as Toni Storm is now the interim AEW Women's World Champion, wins it in 14-20.
This time around, I think you overscored it a little bit. This was about 3 to 3.25 for me. This match had some great moments, yes, but it also had its fair share of issues. The crowd was up and down and did not seem to know how to react to the finish. But about damn time for Toni Storm. I mean, I'm so happy for her. I mean, I'm just, it's just so wonderful to see her. I'm so happy that she is now the AEW Women's World Champion, and it's her biggest win in almost 4 years. I mean, the last major win for her was when she won the 2018 Mae Young Classic, when she beat Io at the Evolution event in 2018. But hasn't really had that moment ever since. I mean, you remember early in the year, she took Charlotte Flair to the limit for the SmackDown Women's Championship, but that didn't happen. And after those last couple of years or so, after being beyond criminally underutilized in WWE, she's gone to AEW, and even with all the turmoil and all the BS going on down there right now, I'm glad that they at least put in the effort in making Toni Storm the star of that division that she should have been in WWE. So about damn time for her, all I can say. So this was 3 to 3.25 stars. And Michael Bullock, this is definitely a big win, for us. I mean, not just because we got it right and MF got it wrong, but it's because of the fact that we've been preaching and pushing for Toni Storm to get her opportunity in her long overdue moment in the sun. And boy, howdy, Sunday night she finally got it. Yes, it's an interim basis, but who the hell cares? She's the women's champion, and it's about damn time.
Yeah, it's about damn time. I mean, after she was criminally underused in WWE, and now she comes to AEW. She is the interim world champion. I'm so happy for her now. And yeah, like you said, also in this, there's friction, like you said, Fletch, with Dr. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, because it looked like Jamie Hayter was about to get the biggest win of her life, but she got screwed by Dr. Britt Baker, and Jamie Hayter was literally pissed off about it. And quite frankly, I can't blame her. I mean, she was about to have one of the biggest moments of her life, and yet Britt Baker's ego got the best of her and basically said, you're not taking away my moment. This is going to be my moment. And Jamie Hayter's not happy about it, and I think she's about to break away from Dr. Britt Baker and is about to throw down with her. So congratulations, Toni Storm. 3.5. It's yours, Fletch.
All right, next up that we did have was Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy. Christian Cage wins the match in 20 seconds because Luchasaurus betrays Jungle Boy and turned on him and beat the living daylights out of him. that led to Christian Cage getting the easy victory in 20 seconds. Absolute disgusting scene that I saw. I was furious as all heck with this moment. Dud, worst fight of the night, the worst fight of the night by a country mile. Gentlemen, I'm not even going to waste our time with this one. So we're going to go to the next one. I believe, Anthony, you'll lead off on it. It was Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho wins the match in 23 minutes and 40 seconds.
Another one of the fights of the night. This was a good 4.25 to 4.5 stars for this. They kept this technical for quite some time by focusing on holds, takedowns, and counters, but they also used the occasional chopper kick to soften each other up. Pace was slow and methodical at times, but not in a bad way. It allowed them to sell each move and tell a story without rushing from spot to spot. These are two men who are both veterans and well known for being amazing performers, so it should come as no surprise that they had one of the best fights of the night. It might not have had as many high-flying spots as other bouts, but it had some structure other bouts lacked. Both men came close to winning with some of their signature moves, but it took a low blow and a Judas effect from Chris Jericho to score the win. The match itself had a lot to like, but this is another finish on this card that is going to get a split response from fans. And that's all there is to say on that. For those of you who like the technical, scientific aspect of professional wrestling, which of course, as you all know, if you've watched our shows, it's well documented how much I love that style of wrestling, how much Michael Bullock loves that style of wrestling. MF has a soft spot for it, but he's more into those be a man, hardcore, smash mouth in your face, physical, punch you in your mouth fights. Those are the fights he's into. But he does have a soft spot for it. I do know that. But for a match of this magnitude, this was a Florio and Bullock special on this one. And so that's all I can say on this. And let's just say this is not going to be the last time these two see each other. Oh, no, not by a long shot. So, 4.25, teetering on 4.5. It is another one of the fights of the night for sure. And Michael Bullock, like I said, this was a Florio and Bullock special. Slow-paced, methodical, scientific, technical wrestling match between two of the all-time greats.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect anything less when you got these two in the ring, and that's what we got here. So 4.25 stars. I could have given it 4.5, but the low blow by Chris Jericho pretty much took a little bit away from it. So, but it was still a damn good match when you got these two. So nothing more to say. It's your Fletch.
All right, yeah. There's really nothing more to add. This was solid. This was good. 4 stars for me. Next up we had was Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro versus the House of Black. 6-man tag, and it was Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro winning the match in 12 minutes and 10 seconds. So I believe this goes to Michael Bullock. So Bullock, it's yours.
3 stars for me for this. I mean, the outcome to me was never a doubt. I mean, you knew that that Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro were going to go over on the House of Black here. So yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to add. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, 3 stars, no doubt about it. 3 to 3.25, I could give that. Solid match, good storyline, and like you said, there was really nothing more to say. It was basically paint by numbers type of a battle. Yeah. So Anthony, it's yours.
3.25. Match was fine for what it was, but nothing about it stood out from the other trios matches we saw on this show. At least the crowd seemed to like the finish. And AEW fans, all I can say is take one last long look at Malachi Black, because you're never going to see him there again, because it was announced earlier today that Malachi Black was granted a conditional, keyword conditional, release from AEW. So a lot of speculation as to what that's about. I mean, a lot of people are saying this is a mental health thing, which, of course, I take that very seriously.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about that. So, if that's the case, I'm all for it. Take all the time you need to get your stuff together, and then we'll see what happens. And others are saying conditional release. Maybe one of the conditions is no compete. I mean, a no compete clause, but make no mistake about it. Soon enough, I believe he will be back, and when he does come back, I believe it will be in the confines of a World Wrestling Entertainment ring.
I agree.
Especially with Triple H running the show. Oh
Yep.
yeah, they'll be back.
Everybody's been saying that. There's no big surprise there, Anthony. His wife, Zelina Vega, is in WWE right now. I think she's out right now with an injury. I think she's nursing an injury or something.
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
So I know she's been out of action for a little bit. And then you also had Malachi Black. There was some issues. They said that it was a mental. It sounded like he had like a mental breakdown or something like that, and that's why he asked to leave. So very, very, very serious situation. Our thoughts are with Malachi for a full recovery, and I think he was also homesick. I really think it was. Sometimes life of a wrestler is not easy, man, and I think that's one thing that we don't stress about enough is that these guys have lives too outside the ring. We know them as performers, we know them as competitors, we know them about some stuff, but there's some dark paths that we don't know about, and situations with certain wrestlers' lives or everything else that normally that doesn't get reported or talked about, and that's their personal business. That's their lives, folks. So we have to be very ultra sensitive with certain individuals and certain people, when it comes to wrestling too. So the word that Anthony always loves to say at the end of his Ridiculously Raw is wrestling is indeed actually real. Well, this is real life we're talking about. So if Malachi is having issues or problems like that, then abso-freaking-lutely get the necessary help that you need. I know he's got a great support system. Rally behind that. We wish you nothing but the best, Malachi. I hope that you're good and everything else, mentally, physically, emotionally. And when you do come back, we cannot wait to see you back in the ring very, very soon. So I just wanted to say that, just to get that out of the way. Main event for All Out for the AEW World Title: CM Punk versus Jon Moxley. Winner of the bout in 19 minutes and 55 seconds. And the new AEW World Champion is CM Punk. But after the match was over, we found out who the Joker was. It was MJF. Maxwell Jacob Freeman absolutely got a hero's welcome of all places. Chicago showing the love to MJF. I couldn't flip and believe it. But it is what it is. This was a solid main event. 3.5 stars. So there's really nothing more to say. Anthony, I'll just give it to you quickly.
Yeah, 4 to 4.25 stars. A hard-fought and entertaining bout. But it makes the booking of their previous bout even more curious. And it'll be interesting to see how people react to this. We already know how they reacted once it settled in. Lights went out, voicemail from Tony Khan began to play, and the Masked Man, it revealed it was MJF, and he's back, and he's coming for the World Heavyweight Championship. He is the number one contender. The Punk chant slowly turned into MJF chants when he came out on the stage. He flipped off the crowd as the show went off the air. And, another 4.25 star match here. Another one of the fights of the night, and this is the banger that we should have got the first time around, but I'm glad we got it here anyway. But 4.25, and not much more to say. Michael Bullock, CM Punk gets the payback on Jon Moxley after how Mox embarrassed him in Cleveland a couple weeks ago on Dynamite.
Yeah, 4.25 stars for me. This was another solid match. This is the one we should have gotten, but yeah. Basically, this is, Punk getting a little payback, but his victory was overshadowed by the return of MJF. And I think MJF made his intentions clear that he's going to go after the AEW World Title. So we'll wait and see what happens. So nothing more to say except let's get into our overall thoughts on this AEW All Out.
Go ahead, Florian.
Yep. 8.5 out of 10 for me. Very good show. The World Tag Team title match, to me, was the fight of the night. Them four boys stole the dang show. That's all there is to say there. Second best fight, I would give it to the Trios final. And then when it comes to the third, it's between two matches. It's between Danielson and Jericho in the main event. But either way, those are 3 and 4, no doubt about it. And you had 4 banger matches. You had a couple of other good ones in there. You did have a couple of meh fights in there. And that dud with Christian and Jungle Boy. And that's all there is to it. Crowd was great. Commentary was great as always. And oh boy, what happened after the event was over. Oh, wow. That's all there is to say there. So, 8.5 out of 10 for me. Bullet, quick thought from you, and then we give it to MF, and then we'll continue on this loaded broadcast.
Yeah, 8 to 8.5 for me. I mean, this was another solid show. I mean, not as good as the All Out that we got last year, but it was still a damn good show. But, I mean, yeah, but unfortunately, at the end of the day, they're not talking about All Out. They're talking about, well, you know the story by now with what happened. So, need I say more? So, it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, we'll get into that on Dynamite because there was a lot that broke out because of that, but we'll get into that a little bit later on in the evening. So yeah, I thought the show was good. It was about 8.5, no doubt about it. So we'll just leave it at that. We'll go right into NXT. So the first thing that we did have was we had Toxic Attraction, JC Jane and Gigi Dolan. They went up against Doudrop and Nikki ASH. And it was Nikki ASH and Doudrop winning the match in 10 minutes and 50 seconds. I don't want to call it a delicious squash, but this was somewhat of a one-sided fight. The Raw tag team of Doudrop and Nikki ASH actually kind of predominantly dominated this match from the NXT, which was, I guess you could say, all right, because, you know, when you got a powerful individual like Doudrop, I think you can honestly say that that's probably a no big surprise. But I think, you know, with a tag team squad like Toxic Attraction, I think it was somewhat of an upset because of the fact of how dominating it was. So this was about maybe 2.25 stars. Anthony Florio, I mean, it seemed like Toxic Attraction kind of got stuck in neutral this entire match. They never really got off the ground.
I agree. I very much agree with that. And give credit to Nikki and Doudrop. They worked their third match in as many days, which shows how much WWE values this team. However, with only 1 win in 3, it doesn't show any clear investment. And it was also odd to see the two women working together so cohesively after an argument between the two on Raw. Hopefully the idea is to bring back the old Nikki Cross while she and Doudrop rebuild their image in NXT. It was a good match in the end, underlining Toxic Attraction's long-term value, and it was the best bout Nikki and Doudrop have been involved with in a while. And whenever Gigi Dolan and JC Jane head to Raw or SmackDown, they should thrive. Once again, with all due respect, MF, I think you underscored this a little bit. I'm going to give this 3 to 3.25 for the effort, because I thought it was a solid match here for what it was, and a big win for Nikki and Doudrop. So, but to be quite honest with you, if I was Triple H and I was running the thing, there would be no more Nikki ASH. I would bring back the Twisted Sister of Sanity. That Nikki Cross. That's the Nikki Cross that I personally want to see back.
Oh, I heard a rumor.
And I hope it's a rumor confirming that they're going to bring back that character soon enough.
More than that.
And then Dewdrop. As far as Dewdrop goes, I'm tired of the Dewdrop name. I've never liked that name to begin with. Let her be known as she was in the UK. Piper Niven. That's her name, not Dewdrop. That's a McMagma name, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, all right, MF. What's this rumor you heard about?
Let's just say it's more than just a formality, but let's just say a certain someone who is formerly from Impact Wrestling liked a comment recently about the Nikki thing, and it's possible we might be getting Sanity.
EY?
Not just him. All of them. You already know what I'm saying. Where I'm going. Where you already know the members of Sanity. I don't even need to explain myself.
Eric Young, Killian Dane, Alexander Wolf.
They might be coming back.
Come on, Papa H. You've done everything else right so far, except for that one little thing at the end of Clash at the Castle. But other than that, you've done damn near everything right. Make that happen. You do that, that'll definitely get some more bad McMagma taste out of our mouths. So, 3 to 3 1/4 stars. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, big win for Nikki and Dewdrop, but wow, I never would have thought Toxic Attraction would have gone down here. And guys, I got to call this a bit of an upset here. I didn't think Nikki and Dewdrop were going to take this one, but they did. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. And the thing is, you wouldn't think that that Toxic Attraction would be upset like that, but they were, and I'm going to give this 3 stars for a rating here. You can call this pretty much an upset. And yeah, Fletch, if this is true that Sanity is coming back, oh boy. I mean, Triple H has done everything right. Well, with the exception of what happened at the ending of Clash at the Castle. But other than that, he's pushed all the right buttons here. And if he could do it one more time and bring back Sanity, oh boy, this is gonna get, as Booker T would say, good. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
JD McDonough went up against Wesley one-on-one. JD McDonough wins the match in 9 minutes and 37 seconds. Florio?
3.5 stars. Fun little sprint. This was a much stronger foundation match for JD McDonough than we have seen to date. Wes Lee challenged him without ever threatening him. It was an extended enhancement bout that made clear why the Irish Ace is still a threat to anyone. The problem for McDonough is a lack of competition coming down the pipeline. As he builds his new character, he needs opponents who can push him without outshining him. But other than that, fantastic match. 3.5 stars, fun little sprint. Which I knew it was going to be between these two. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts? Bullock, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just hit a.
All right.
What is it?
It's JD McDonough versus Wes Lee, and I gave it 3.5 stars for the effort. Fun little sprint.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it. I'll give it 3.5. Fun little sprint here. I mean, nice bounce back win for JD McDonough after a tough loss to Braun. Well, lost weeks ago to Braun Breaker for that NXT title. So nothing more to say. It's your Fletch.
Yeah, about 3 stars. I'll give you that. Nothing more to say. Next up we had was Miko Satomura. She went up against Roxanne Perez, and it was Miko Satomura, the final boss, winning the match in 11 minutes and 19 seconds. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll give this about maybe another 3-star match. I mean, yeah, this was a nice match here by these two, and you could see the mutual respect that the two had for one another after the match. Well, let's just say, unfortunately, there was one person, Fletch, that thought the opposite of both of them. And I think that was Cora Jade, because you saw afterwards, Cora Jade came right from behind with that stick and leveled Roxanne Perez with it. So I think this feud is far from over between these two. I think they're scheduled. I think they'll meet again somewhere down the line. But you could see Miko Satomura was not happy with Cora Jade, with that stunt she pulled. So yeah, there's a special place for people like you, Cora Jade. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, no, this was a solid match too. This was about 3.5. I could even call it my fight of the night because it was that good. It was a great wrestling match by two amazing women. Of course, Miko Satomura, one of the legends in the game. If you have not seen her body of work, go out of your way to do it because she is truly awesome and amazing. And when they refer to her as the final boss, that's exactly what she is, the final boss. Um, Without a doubt, great battle. And then you got Cora Jade, who's so young, so fresh, so vibrant, so lively, and she already is making quite uh, a her body of work is she hasn't even scratched the surface on what she can do. I know her really well. Roxy from Ring of Honor was a Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. Um, she had that great matchup with Diana Perrazzo, the Virtuoso, which was a unified title fight. And the thing is, when she came to WWE, there was already some raw excitement about her and everything else, and she did everything right. She's done everything up to this point, and the thing was, Cora Jade asked for the match against Miko Satomura. She challenged her after she lost at Worlds Collide, but Miko said no. Now Cora thought, "Oh, are you ducking me? You think I'm why? Because you know I'm gonna beat you?" She's like, "No, because I got a more worthy opponent and one that I actually respect, and that was Roxanne Perez." So already she threw the bullet point out there, saying that A, you're not worthy of fighting me, and B, I found a worthy opponent that wanted to face off with me. And like we said, I'm glad that the Cora Jade thing was after the match because at least we had a banger of a match. And this was a great professional wrestling match. So for me, this was 3.5, and I could even go as far to call it my fight of the night. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
I will call it the fight of the night. I'm gonna go that far. I'm actually gonna give this. I'm actually gonna pull the trigger and give it 4. I mean, this was everything it promised to be and more. Roxanne Perez looked like a completely different wrestler, able to unleash what she has held back while facing developing talent. Miko Satomura gave her a spotlight and she grabbed it. Even without winning, even in defeat, the 20-year-old walked out a winner. In fact, she may have benefited more from the loss because the eventual return match will be even better. And the final boss, I believe, should be poised for a singles match and maybe a possible title match with Mandy Rose before long. And Roxanne Perez obviously has unfinished business with Cora Jade as both continue to push themselves up the ranks. And you notice Roxanne looked nervous before the bell, but she got going after shaking hands with one of her idols. And you heard that chant from the crowd. They chanted it, women's wrestling, as Roxanne and Miko answered each other move for move. And Roxanne nearly won off of Frankensteiner, but she couldn't get that close again. And then, of course, Cora got involved after the match with the kendo stick, obviously. And I'm with you guys. I mean, I'm glad they saved it for after the match. I'm glad they didn't have her ruin it. I was so concerned because MF, we talked about it briefly on Ridiculously Raw the other night, when I first brought up that this match was official. And MF was saying, "Oh God, Cora," and I'm like, "Yeah, Cora," and we were both worried that she was gonna ruin this match in some way, but thank goodness that did not happen. I'm glad they saved it for after the match. You let Miko Satomura and Roxanne Perez have the banger of a match we knew they were capable of, and boy, howdy, they delivered. So, fight of the night for me, 4 stars, fantastic match. So, lived up to the hype and then some. So, like I said, Roxanne and Cora, unfinished business, and I think Miko Satomura could be possible, and I think this will be a straight up one-on-one match this time around. The true one-on-one match. Miko Satomura possibly challenging Mandy Rose and being Mandy's first challenger for that undisputed women's title. So, see what happens. 4 stars, fight of the night, MF, move on. What a match.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. All right, guys. So next up we have was Ricochet versus Trick Williams. Ricochet wins the match in 5 minutes and 13 seconds. So Anthony, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, this was a cool down fight. I could probably give this about 2.5, I guess. It was better than it had any right to be. I mean, Trick looked good as the one and only sold for him early, and while the result was never in question, the two had a sprint that could have hit comfortably on the main roster shows. And it looks like Ricochet may get another shot at Carmelo Hayes in the North American Championship. And given the quality of their first bout, it's definitely not a bad idea. But it's important Ricochet is not the one to dethrone the A champion, unless Melo is heading to the main roster. So that's really all there is to say on that. So, and next week, as part of the 1-year anniversary show, Melo will defend the North American Championship again against an opponent of the fans' choosing. So, could it be Ricochet? Or could it be somebody else that we didn't even expect? Well, we got to go on social media to find all that out. But 2.5 for the effort. Fun little sprint. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 2.5 is my rating for it. I mean, it was a little cool down fight. So yeah, so I think, like you said, Ricochet, I think is going to get another shot at the North American title. So yeah, there's nothing more to say. Let's move on, Fletch.
Yeah, no, 2.5, 2 to 2.5 stars, no doubt about it. Solid match. Really nothing more to add there. Then the next thing that we had was Nathan Frazier versus Axum. This was actually originally they were supposed to do a 2 out of 3 falls fight at Worlds Collide, and the match never happened. But now they're going to do a series of matches. I believe it's the best 2 out of 3 matches. I believe if I remember correctly, this is going to do. So this is fight 1 of 3, and Axum won the first match in 11 minutes and 46 seconds. So Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
What was the time of that?
11:46.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good match here. I'll give it about 3.25. I mean, a good way to start off the series of matches. So there's nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, I'll say 3.25. I really enjoyed the body of work, and if this is what we're gonna get with this best of 3, oh, strap in, folks. We're in for a treat, because normally they always say the first fight's always the precursor to set up for the rest of it. And I gotta admit, I enjoyed this first matchup. I really enjoyed it. I thought they did a really good job. Michael Bullock, Anthony, I'll give it to you.
3.5 stars. This was a match built with athleticism rather than story, but it built that thanks to the physical work of both men. They flew around the ring before leaning into technical offense down the stretch. It was the best showcase for either man in NXT 2.0 to date, and this was only match 1. Nathan Frazier will pick up the win in the second match of the 3 to make sure this series goes the distance. These two need this spotlight, and what a match it was, man. I mean, Nathan Frazier sending Axum to the floor with a dropkick, then dived onto him to gain control. Axiom twisting at the arm of Frazier, who lifted him up into a swinging neck breaker. Frazier moonsaulted off the ropes into a reverse DDT on Axiom, then planted him with a sling blade to set up a standing shooting star, but Axiom got the knees up. Just some of the great athleticism that we saw in this match. 3.5 stars, another one of the fights of the night. It's in my top 3 for sure. So not much more to say. Yeah, Matt, let's move on.
Main event. It was Braun Breaker and Tyler Bate versus the Coffee Brothers, and it was Tyler Bate and Braun Breaker winning the match in 10 minutes and 51 seconds. It was a solid main event. I give this another 3 stars. I'm not going to, maybe second, third best fight of the night. It was still a solid main event for what it was worth. But JD McDonough jumped Braun Breaker after the match. So JD McDonough is not done with Braun at all. He definitely wants another shot at the NXT Championship. No doubt about it. I could see that definitely happening. So, Anthony, I give it to you with the solid main event.
Yeah, solid main event. Third best fight of the night. 3 to 3.25 for the effort. While Braun Breaker is highly unlikely to go into the tag team division soon, he and Tyler Bate look great together. This could be a great way to introduce the NXT champion on the main roster, working with another young veteran in a dominant tag team. Joe and Mark Coffey are a reliable tag team and will rebound, but Gallus lost too much this past week. It will take some time to get the group into title contention again. And that's really all there is to say on that. And one highlight of the match for me, both Braun Breaker and Tyler Bate hit side-by-side delayed vertical suplexes and then held the ring. And then Wolfgang attacking Bate, throwing him to the steel post to give Gallus the edge. But after Breaker and Bate hit those delayed verticals, we had a throwback. I mean, they threw back to the days of Braun Breaker's father and uncle, the Steiner brothers. You notice that little thing that the Steiners always used to do back in the day. You know, Rick would always run around and Big Papa Pump would get under him or whatever. They did the same thing. And that was a fun little throwback with those two youngsters paying homage to the new Hall of Famers, the Steiner brothers. So that was a fun and cool spot for me. But 3.25 stars. Michael Bullock, the outcome, you had a feeling Breaker and Bate were going to win it. But at the same time, though, Gallus, oh boy, they lost a lot of momentum this week. But hopefully, soon enough, they'll get that momentum back.
Yeah, 3.25. I mean, solid main event. I mean, yeah, Gallus is starting to lose that momentum, but I think they'll get it back eventually. It's just going to take some time here, and a nice first showing for Braun Breaker and Tyler Bate as a tag team. So nothing more to say. Let's get to overall thoughts.
All right, and Michael Bullock.
No, I lead off.
Oh, okay, Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm saying this about a 2.0 show, but I'm saying it. 8 to 8.5. This was a fantastic 2.0 show. I mean, all the matches were solid to good to great. We had a lot of great angle advancement, a lot of storyline progression, and that definitely helps going into the big 1-year anniversary show next week. And I could say this was probably the best non-special NXT 2.0 outside of the specials that they've ever done. So great work and great effort from everybody. And of course, the women's match, that's what put it over the top. Miko Satomura and Roxanne Perez, they stole the damn show last night. And Axiom and Nathan Frazier, great jump off to their series. Main event was quality. And they kept the silliness at a minimum, which is always a good thing. Even though there's a new character coming in that I'm very worried about, that's got fruit booty potential. I'm not even gonna, go into any further detail on that. You know who I'm referring to, and I'm dreading it because it's gonna be another one of the cartoon characters that this brand is known for, right up there with Gacy, and that's all I can say on that. So let me calm down here and let's call it what it was. 8.5. Michael Bullock, best non-special event of NXT 2.0 I've ever seen, and hopefully we can get more of this down the road.
Yeah, to me, this was the best NXT 2.0 I've seen in a long time. So, an 8 for me. I mean, this was a really good show. I mean, never thought I'd be saying that for a non NXT special. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
8.5. I agree with Anthony. You guys have pretty much touched on it, so we're gonna go right into Dynamite to get it out of the way. So first off, we're gonna go and we'll talk about the elephant in the room. I'm gonna do it briefly. We're just gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna get it out of the way because this needs to be addressed. On Sunday night, there was an incident during the media scrum that had to do with CM Punk. And Punk made some comments about Cole Cabana, about Adam Hangman Page, and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Well, an incident happened, apparently. Now, we don't know the full... We know a lot of the dirt sheets have been talking about it, and is that a fight had broken out between the Bucks and CM Punk. Pat Buck got involved with members of the Elite. So a lot of suspensions got thrown out. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks were suspended. Christopher Daniels was suspended. Brandon Cutler was suspended. Michael Nakazawa was suspended. And we heard that Punk and Ace Steel, now we don't know what their punishment has been. Punk suffered an injury and he's going to be out, but we don't know if he's going to be suspended or if he's going to be let go. We don't know. Tony Khan came out via tape before the show began and said that the AEW World title and the AEW Trios title are vacated. They have been stripped by the respected champions, and two things were going to happen. The Trios title was going to be in a match between the Death Triangle and the Best Friends, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But a tournament to determine the next AEW World Champion was going to be held. There was a bracket that was laid out, and one match was held earlier tonight. We'll get into that in a little bit. The other match will be Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara, and the winners of those matches will have to face off, and they will have to face Jon Moxley, which is on, I believe, the Dynamite side of the bracket, and then there's an AEW Rampage bracket.
No, it's all one bracket. There's no separate Dynamite or Rampage.
I'm kind of figuring that if you're going to do it that way, you have to do it that way, because I would prefer it that way. So you give Dynamite a match so to sink their teeth into, because we all know how bad Dynamite's been lately. So to get the ratings, I think you should do that. But personally, thoughts. But whatever the case may be, in a couple of weeks at AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, that's going to be held at Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York, we will have a brand new AEW World Champion crowned. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. And then it led to the first thing of the night, which was a promo by MJF, interrupted by Jon Moxley. And I got to say, this was the perfect way. Well, first off, MJF got buried in the whole thing. With all that drama by Punk and the Bucks and all that stuff, I kind of felt like MJF got robbed of a golden moment here. You know, everybody was talking about MJF's return from the water cooler and the whole 9 yards, and he basically became an afterthought within a day. MJF got raw deal, except for tonight. Now people will definitely know about Maxwell Jacob Friedman because he's now back. And I kind of feel like Moxley's going to win it. And I kind of feel like now, with the way that this bracket's set up and everything else, and especially after what happened here, I think we're going to see Jon Moxley and MJF fight for the AEW World title when it's all said and done. That's my prediction. but I really think they did a real good job selling everything about it. I think the explanation of with everything that happened was probably worthy. I don't know where we're gonna go from there, but Anthony, it's yours.
Bullock knows where I'm going with this because we've talked about this. Bullock called me up this afternoon, and MF, you're hearing this for the first time. But I did mention this in our messenger chat as well. All I can say, gentlemen, what a difference a year makes. I mean, at this time 1 year ago, AEW was the place to be in professional wrestling. I mean, coming off All Out 2021, which if I'm not mistaken, I think we voted that as our pay-per-view of the year last year as part of our year-end awards and review show.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and a lot of it was because of the surprise debuts of Ruby Soho, Adam Cole, and Bryan Danielson, and the body of work. And WWE, and we said they were on the rise, and we said that WWE was on the decline because we were stuck in the McMagma PG era, which we thought was going to be never ending, with all the meh shows we were getting week in and week out, with all the campy comedy nonsense and repetitiveness and filler and all this and all the other BS McMagma and company were throwing in our faces and shoving down our throats every week. But that was last year. I never would have thought in my wildest dreams that 1 year later we'd be talking about WWE being on the rise, especially after McMagma was forced out because of all the stuff going on with him. And then Triple H takes over, and over the last month and a half, WWE has produced top-notch quality shows damn near every week. Yeah, there've been a couple of couple of meh shows here and there, but the good has far outweighed the bad. When it comes to the Triple H era, and we've been getting quality Raws and quality SmackDowns damn near every week. And look where we are now with and WWE. More importantly, WWE is united. They're a united front with a common purpose, and it's damn near like a family environment, especially now that Triple H has, and with creative and of course Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan and all that. And now AEW has started to become the second coming of WCW 2000. And the cracks are starting to form. The chinks are in the armor, guys. I mean, and that's all caused by individual egos, massive individual egos, especially all of those involved in that skirmish. And of course, the instigator, all of it, CM Punk. So... And Derek Ferreira even said in his video about this, recently, saying that CM Punk is to AEW what Hulk Hogan was to WCW. He said that Hulk Hogan was the one who killed WCW. I mean, he was one of them, but let's also not forget, Vince Russo also had a hand in that too. Let's not kid ourselves. Vince Russo was just as much responsible for the demise of WCW as Hogan was. But there were also some other guys. But Hogan and Russo were the main two. Nowadays, it's Punk, and whether you like Tony Khan or not, you got to give Tony Khan credit, and I think he should be commended for what he did here tonight. We thought maybe there was going to be some more interim BS, but no. The suspensions were announced. We don't know what the fate of Punk and Steele are, but all those other guys were suspended, and rightfully so. Even though I'm like, what in the world did Christopher Daniels, Michael Nakazawa, and Brandon Cutler have to do with it? I'm scratching my head over those three, but the elite definitely deserve it, and guess what? Now we can have new champions that we can all hopefully be proud of, and we're gonna crown new trios champions tonight, and later on we're gonna have one tournament match in which the winner of that match will go on to face Chris Jericho next week. And then, of course, Friday night we got Guevara and Allen, and what will without a doubt be a banger of a match, because every time they've gotten together, it's been a banger. And the winner of that match will meet Jon Moxley also next week. And then those two winners go to Arthur Ashe Stadium and battle for the right to become the brand new AEW World Heavyweight Champion after the title was vacated and stripped away of CM Punk. And rightfully so. So, as far as the segment is concerned, it was the segment of the night. I mean, and Josh, and what can I say about MJF? I mean, coming out in a JA-17 jersey, carrying himself like the world's biggest babyface, almost obnoxiously positive to the chagrin of Excalibur before Moxley brought out the heel in him. And he answered the scarf-wearing top contender's inevitable heel turn on the crowd with an impassioned promo that instantly ranked him on the best of his entire career and left the crowd on their feet and the commentary team admitting to goosebumps. This was exactly what this show needed. Given everything that has happened in the last 72 hours, relying on company workhorses like Jon Moxley and MJF to win the crowd over and deliver big time on the mic was the right call. Tony Khan deserves a lot of blame for the creative shortcomings of late and absolutely could have handled the backstage drama a lot better than he did, but to his credit, made the right call with the booking of this segment and the announcements regarding the futures of the AEW Trios and World Heavyweight Championships. And wow. And MJF going there. You know, he says, maybe I take that title to a real wrestling company with real fans and real wrestlers like my mentor and idol, the American roller coaster, Cody Rhodes. And then T's going to WWE and working for Nick Khan and Triple H, wearing a big crap-eating grin on his face the whole time. And Bryan Danielson, a better wrestler than I will ever be. Moxley gave props to his brother, his BCC brother. And then Moxley ended it with very simply saying, "This is the time to be a legend." You damn right it is. The ship was sinking, but hopefully this is what will steer the ship in the right direction. And because we're all rooting for AEW, we're all rooting for them to succeed. And I hope and pray that tonight was a much needed, and I believe tonight was a much needed step in the right direction. And segment of the night, there's no doubt about it. Both men were phenomenal, and that's all there is to say on it. So that's just my thought on all of that. So just wanted to get that off my chest, and I'm glad we had the platform to do it. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, I mean, say what you want about Tony Khan and the way he handled the original situation, but the way he handled it tonight with the announcement of the titles and everything else, I think for at least that regard, he should most certainly be commended.
Yeah, he definitely deserves some credit for this. The way he handled everything afterwards, with stripping the titles, and then with this announcement, of course, of crowning new Trios champion, and then, of course, a tournament to determine a new AEW World Champion. I mean, he may have started all that, but yeah, he definitely handled the aftermath of it. But now where this whole situation goes from here, I mean, who knows? I mean, like you said, we already know the Elite have been suspended. Brandon Cutler, Michael Nakazawa. You know something's going to happen with CM Punk and Ace Steel eventually. Forget suspensions. I think they're going to be fired because, I mean, CM Punk started all this crap, and I think he needs to be fired for all this. So that's all I got to say on it. It's yours, Fletch. Great promo, by the way. I mean, to start it off.
Yeah, so we're going to finally get into the action. What we did get was a trios. This was the match to determine the next trios champions. It was Death Triangle versus the Best Friends. The winners of the bout in 11 minutes and 37 seconds was the Death Triangle. So Penta El Zero Miedo and Rey Fenix gets the trios title, but more importantly, Pac is a double champion. He now is the AEW All-Atlantic Champion, and now 1/3 of the Trios Championship. Anthony Florio, it's yours. Death Triangle wins it all in 11 minutes and 37 seconds.
Okay. Great matchup here, no doubt about it. 3.25 to 3.5 stars for the effort. Yes, Death Triangle is a great trio and one of the most consistently great acts the company has at its disposal. No matter what, they can be relied on to carry their side of things once the bell rings, so it makes sense that the company would find comfort in putting the AEW World Trios Championships on them. With that said, however, as much as I respect the Death Triangle, and I do, this really should have been Best Friends and Orange Cassidy's crowning moment. They have been as steady and over as any act in the company, with Freshly Squeezed being among the most popular since day one. Classic case of them, it's the classic case of they've always been the bridesmaids or the groomsmen in this case, though, and never the groom. And never the grooms, rather. The opportunity was there to reward them for their hard work, and it passed them by, unfortunately. But other than that, though, fantastic match, like I said. And Pac exhibited predictable aggression as he stomped away at Cassidy. The history between them, no secret to longtime fans. And Death Triangle uncorked a trio of Canadian destroyers that would make Petey Williams proud to set up the finish. And what a fantastic match. Great way to start it off. 3.5 stars for the effort. Not much more to say. Congratulations, though, to Death Triangle. They're definitely capable of running with the trio's titles. But at the same time, I kind of feel Best Friends should have won this one. This would have been a perfect time to give Orange Cassidy his first championship. But it is what it is. But other than that, Michael Bullock, not much more to say. 3.5 stars. And Bullock, all I can say is, like I said, great match. And as much as I respect that triangle, and I don't have a problem with them at all. The wrong team won this match. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think the Best Friends should have been the ones to go over. I mean, 3.5 stars for me, but like you said, I think they got this one wrong. I think the Best Friends should have been the one to go over. I mean, nothing against Death Triangle. I mean, and it was a great match, but I just think the wrong team won this one. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
3 stars. I agree with that. I mean, I don't mind that it was Death Triangle winning it, but yeah, I do have a sentimental melancholy moment there for the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. So no doubt about it. Tony Storm went up against Penelope Ford 1-on-1. Tony Storm wins the match in roughly 6 minutes. Bullock, it's yours. Oh, Anthony, it's yours. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, nice showcase for Tony Storm and a reminder that Penelope Ford is a viable contender in the women's division. But most of the match happened during the picture-in-picture break, something that has plagued that particular roster since day one. Storm is a big deal, a star in waiting, but did not feel like one here in her first appearance with the interim title. She earned better than that, even if she still went over. So there isn't much more to say on this. I'll give it about 2.25, 2.5 for the effort. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, nice showcase win for Tony Storm in her first appearance as the interim women's champion.
Yeah, I'll give it about 2.25, 2.5. I mean, a nice showcase for Tony Storm in her first match as the interim world champion, and it's good to see Penelope Ford get some airtime here, and who knows, somewhere down the line, maybe she could get a shot at the title. So we'll wait and see. So it's your Fletch.
Yeah, I mean, it was solid. It was all right. It was about a 2-star match. There's really nothing more to add there. So next up we had was Wardlow versus Tony Nese. Wardlow wins the match in 59 seconds. We're just gonna move on along. All right, here we go. This is the big one. Bryan Danielson versus Adam Hangman Page in a wild card match in the AEW title tournament. Bryan Danielson advances to the semifinal. He will now face Chris Jericho next week. 23 minutes and 4 seconds. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
What was the time, Fletch?
23:04.
yeah, what a match this was. Obviously, to me, this is definitely the fight of the night, hands down. I mean, you knew it was going to be fight of the night when they announced this as a one of the matches in the tournament. So, I mean, 4.5 stars is my rating for this. I mean, man, what a match here. I mean, you knew Danielson was going to go over here. So, but a great effort by Adam Hangman Page, no doubt about it. So, there's nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
4.5 to 4.75 of a star is my rating for the match. Absolutely amazing battle. Fight of the night. There's no argument on this one. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
What was that time again? Quick.
23:04.
Wow. Yeah, 4.5, 4.75. As expected, the moment it was announced, Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page tore the house down with another great match that set the tone for the rest of this tournament. Their chemistry is off the charts, and that was on full display tonight. The match was not as long, bloody, or as dramatic as their previous encounters, but it still had the fans in Buffalo popping for the near falls and false finishers down the line. Two stars who knew each other well. The match did not end with an emphatic finisher, but rather Danielson out-wrestling Hangman with an O'Connor roll. It sets up Danielson Jericho in the semifinals, a match that should attract an audience next week in Albany. Where Hangman goes from here remains to be seen, but as one of the forefathers of this company that is not currently suspended, do not be surprised to see Tony Khan lean on him in a key role down the stretch. And very tepid crowd reaction to Hangman, as if the fans in Buffalo were not sure if they wanted to embrace him or reject him. Danielson hung Page up in the corner, unloading him with his trademark kicks to the chest. He added a baseball slide for good measure, and then Page delivered a dead eye for a very close near fall. Another fantastic match between these two to go with the. And speaking of, our year-end show last year, you remember we voted All Out as the pay-per-view of the year. We voted their first match as the match of the year. Let's not forget that. We when they met on that Winter is Coming Dynamite, December the 15th, when they had that 1 hour draw.
Yeah, it was a 1 hour draw for the AEW World Title.
Yep, and we gave it 5 stars. We probably gave it more, I'm sure, but we probably pulled a Meltzer and gave it like 6 or 7. But still, I mean, that was the best match of this series. And then of course they had another banger on January 5th, which was the first Dynamite of the TBS era. They stole the show on that occasion, and they did it once again here tonight. So don't be surprised by that. Danielson Jericho next week. I'm going to go with Danielson to win that match, and then let the chips fall where they may from there. So, 4.5, 4.75. Fight of the night. They stole the damn show. Nothing more to say. MF. What else? What else is there?
All right. So what the other thing that we did have was the main event. Daniel Garcia versus Wheeler Yuta for the Ring of Honor Pure title or Pure Wrestling Championship. The 3 judges scoring this at ringside was Jerry Lynn, BJ Whitmer, and Matt Sydal. When it was all said and done, the winner of the bout in 16 minutes and 12 seconds and the new Ring of Honor Pure Wrestling Champion, Daniel Garcia. He wins the belt. Solid main event. About a 3.5 star match. Look, if you've never seen a Pure Rules match from Ring of Honor, this was a very good showcase. Both men, great style wrestlers, submission style wrestlers. They showed that element. This was really, really good. I really had a good enjoyment of the match more than anything else. So for me, this was a solid main event, and I really got nothing more to say. 3 to 3.5 stars. History was made in Buffalo, New York tonight. Unprecedented crowning of a brand new Ring of Honor Pure Wrestling Champion. And yes, there was a moment at the end where Bryan Danielson came on out, shook the hand of the new champion, put the belt around the waist, and that triggered Chris Jericho. boy, did that crawl up his skin big time. Nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, yeah, come on in now, Florio. I'm ready for you. It's all yours. We got a new champ.
And when there's a new champ, you know what that means? Tripod confetti time. Oh yeah. we blasted that sucker tonight. And a quick note to WWE, this is how you send your crowds home happy. That's how you send the crowd home happy right there. This is what we should have saw last Saturday, if you know what I mean. But, at least AEW, had the cojones to do it here tonight. And while their previous encounters have been more cerebral and methodical, this match was fought with a greater sense of urgency, and the result was an easier to follow bout, not bogged down by the unnecessary pure wrestling rules. Crowd was completely behind Daniel Garcia, treating Wheeler Yuta like the biggest heel in the building for reaching for the ropes, then catching his opponent with a close fist punch, two things restricted by the title and its many stipulations. Garcia winning by submission was the right call, even if it was somewhat predictable. It solidified Bryan Danielson's claims that Garcia is a professional wrestler, not a sports entertainer, and provided the young competitor a signature win that fans can point to as the moment he took the next step towards stardom. Post-match was great, particularly the look of disbelief on Chris Jericho's face as he watched Bryan Danielson strap the title around the winner's waist, realizing he had likely just lost an associate and someone he can manipulate for his own benefit. Suddenly, the Jericho-Danielson match for next week's show carries more weight given the tug-of-war for Daniel Garcia's soul that has become one of the most prominent stories in the company. And champion and challenger unloaded with ear-shattering chops to each other's chest. Yuta used the first of his rope breaks late in the match, then followed it up with a warning for utilizing a closed fist. MF knows all about the rules of those matches. Garcia kicked out of the seatbelt pin that his opponent used to defeat him at Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view. And Garcia and Yuta adhered to the Code of Honor with a post-match handshake, while Bryan Danielson appeared and strapped the belt around the new champ's waist. I got to give this about 4 to 4 1/4. Second best fight of the night for me. Maybe second or third. It's somewhere in that neighborhood, but nonetheless, 4 to 4 1/4 stars. And there's not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, this is where WWE should take note. What happened tonight, this is how you send the crowd home happy, unlike what happened last Saturday.
Yeah, this is definitely how you send the crowd home happy with a moment like this. I mean, yeah, so 4 stars. I mean, second best fight of the night. I mean, yeah, you're seeing a big time star in the making in Daniel Garcia, and proving that he is indeed a wrestler and can wrestle against anybody. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Let's get into our overall thoughts on this edition of Dynamite.
Yes, indeed. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, this was a very good show tonight. 8.5 out of 10 once again. I mean, the crowd in Buffalo was red hot. Danielson and Hangman stole the show once again. The trios tournament match was very good, and of course the main event was very good. I mean, we only had maybe 1 or 2 bad matches. We had one delicious squash and one match that was solid but not overly spectacular. The opening promo was ranks up there as one of the best of the year, maybe best of all time, with MJF and Moxley. And yeah, I mean they needed a big show tonight. They needed a bounce back show, and this is what's known as a get right show after all the bullshit that we saw. So, and I'm glad that that they did that here tonight after everything that's gone down over the last 72 hours or so. And 8.5 for me. So Michael Bullock, after all the craziness of the last few days, they desperately needed a get right show, and this tonight, in my book, as far as I'm concerned, it was literally a get right show.
Yeah, this was definitely a get right show, the one they really needed with everything that has developed in the last 72 hours. So 8.5 for me. So it's your Sledge.
All right, guys. So before we get on out of here, we need to address one little elephant in the room. And that is that at this time tomorrow night, we are going to be kicking off the National Football League season. And yes, my friends, this is that little collaborative that we were talking about the NFL Saturday. Yeah, it's about to go down right about now. So, tomorrow night is the start of the NFL season, the 2022-2023 season, and it will be the Buffalo Bills going to SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California to take on the champions, the reigning, defending, undisputed National Football League Super Bowl world champions, the Los Angeles Rams, as the banner, their second banner in their franchise history, will be going up in that beautiful facility. Now, you guys already know the game is on NBC. You already know the commentary crew, as it will be now Mike Tirico as the lead commentator with Chris Collinsworth. And it's not Michelle Tafoya, it's Melissa Starks?
Yep. Yeah, Melissa Stark.
Melissa Starks will be the sideline reporter for the opening night game. So, Buffalo is right now a 2.5-point favorite going into this tomorrow night. And the way I see it, it goes like this. In the history of the NFL, since they had the opening night game, I believe that the world champions, the Super Bowl champions, have only lost this game, I believe, 2 or 3 times. It's been very rare.
2
times. So, obviously, you would think you would go with the Rams. That'd be the sexy pick, right? Wrong. Because a lot of people are picking Buffalo. And here's the reason why. Offensively, the Rams are not the same team that they were about a year ago. They lost a lot of good receivers. They haven't had that many big-time players or weapons that Matthew Stafford's going to have, where on the side of Buffalo, they got all their guys. They have Stephon Diggs. They have a good running core. And they have enough complementary players for JA-17, Josh Allen, for all you fans out there that don't know that. This is one of those situations where you kind of feel like maybe this might be their moment. And then defensively, Von Miller is a Buffalo Bill now. What type of impact is he going to be in that strategy with that layout and everything else that has happened? Now, of course, JA-17's got to watch his black side and watch himself, because there's a guy named Aaron Donald that's ready to pounce on him and to bring him right to the dirt. But Von Miller, and you also got a vaunted defense already by Buffalo. This has the perfect storm for Buffalo not only to steal this, but to make a statement to the rest of the NFL that all these predictors, all these prognosticators that's been putting them as possibly the favorite to go to the Super Bowl this year, they're going to want to make these people look like geniuses right about now. So, the way I see it, I think it's going to be a back and forth, neck and neck throughout the game until JA-17 decides to drop the hammer and Buffalo will pull away when this is all said and done. My prediction is that I got the Buffalo Bills knocking off the Los Angeles Rams by the final score of 31-23. Anthony Florio, it is all yours. I know you got the game notes and everything else. Please do that very quickly, but it is yours. I got Buffalo winning 31-23 on the opening night game.
All right, very good, MF. And yes, you nailed everything perfectly. Buffalo 2.5-point favorite. SoFi Stadium, NBC. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark will be the announcers for that. And Buffalo leads the all-time series 8-5. They've won the last 2 meetings in this series. Last meeting was 2020 in Buffalo, a game Buffalo dominated before the Rams went on a big run and nearly stole it. Came all the way back and nearly stole it, but then Buffalo came back and won at the end. A game that went from a dud to a 5-star classic, 35-32, 2 years ago in Buffalo. Last meeting in LA was 2016 at the Coliseum. Buffalo won that game 30-19. The Rams' last win over Buffalo was 2012 in Buffalo, 15-12. And they haven't beaten the Bills in LA as the LA Rams since 1983, 41-17 final there. But anywho, as last season's Super Bowl champion, the Los Angeles Rams are hosting the opener this year, and hosting has been a huge advantage over the years. The reigning champion has been hosting the Thursday opener since 2004, and in that time, they've gone 14-2. Not to mention, Sean McVay is one of the best opening day coaches in NFL history. The Rams coach is 5-0 all-time in Week 1 games, and his teams have won those games by an average of 16.6 points. Of course, the Rams were favored in their 5 other openers under McVay, but they will not be favored in this one. If you want to beat the Rams, it helps to have a mobile quarterback, JA-17, Josh Allen, check. A defense that can force turnovers, check. Buffalo forced the 3rd most in the NFL last season, and a pass rusher who can get after the quarterback. The Bills did not exactly have that 3rd thing last season, but they're hoping that Von Miller will be able to fill that role in 2022. If you start sacking Matthew Stafford, the Rams' offense starts to fall apart, and that's why Miller could be a huge factor tomorrow night. The Rams went 9-1 in games where Stafford was sacked 0 or 1 time last season, but they were just 3-4 in games where Stafford was sacked 2 or more times. This is practically a home game for Von Miller, who will be playing his 3rd straight game at SoFi Stadium under 3 different circumstances. He played for the home team, the LA Rams, in the NFC Championship game when they knocked off the San Francisco 49ers. He played at a quote-unquote neutral site in the Super Bowl against the Cincinnati Bengals, and he'll be on the visiting team, the Buffalo Bills, for the opener. From now on, if Von Miller is playing a game at SoFi Stadium, just assume that his team is going to win. And to put it to bed quickly, I know we're short on time, but I will say this. As a long-suffering Buffalo Bills fan, all I can say is I have never been more excited for a Buffalo Bills season than I am now. Because many of the experts are saying that Buffalo is not only one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl, they're one of the favorites to actually win it. Can you imagine how emotional I'm going to be if they do that? I'm going to tell you guys right now, if they do that, if Buffalo goes on to win the whole damn thing this year, I'm pulling the Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 12. End of story. So that's all I can say on that. You know what he did at WrestleMania 12. I'm going to do the exact same thing if that happens. I'm going to be even more emotional than MF was when his Braves won the World Series last year. That's exactly how emotional I'm going to be. But nonetheless, it's the most excited I've been. I've waited a long time for the potential of a season like this, and they pull this off, which I think they can, and they will. This could be the start of something very magical. Buffalo wins. I agree with MF. Final score for me, I'm going to go a little higher scoring. I'm going to say 34-27. Buffalo steals one at SoFi. JA-17 will be the difference, as will Von Miller. And all I can say is let the games begin. The road to Arizona in Super Bowl 57 starts tomorrow night, and I can't wait. And MF, I can't wait to do it with you. Tony and Mikey special right off the bat. And when the moment this game was announced, I said it, I wanted it, and we got it. So here we go. 34-27, Buffalo wins. Michael Bullock, the road to Arizona starts tomorrow night, Super Bowl 57. My Buffalo Bills against the LA Rams, and all I can say is this is the most excited I've ever been for a season of Buffalo Bills football, and all I can say is I've wanted it every year, but when it comes to this year, I've never wanted it more.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to get this new season starting tomorrow night. I mean, when you got these two go at it, the Bills and the Rams, it's going to be a fun night to say the very least. And yeah, I mean, you would say the Bills are. I mean, the Rams should win this, but the thing is, the Bills are better offensively and also defensively. So I agree. I'm with you guys. I got the Bills winning this one. So let's put a bow on this.
All right, and that will end this very extended, elongated episode of Wednesday Night Madness. We thank you so much for everything, guys. Tomorrow night, 10:30 Eastern, is going to be week 2 of TXN Sports World's college football. Thursday, we're going to get into that. Friday is Cerebral Smack Talk at 11 p.m. Eastern, where we'll be talking the traditional. We're going to be talking SmackDown Live. We got AEW Rampage. And then Saturday at 10:30, folks, you wanted it, you got it, guys. NFL Saturday, kicking it off. Week 1 of the National Football League. We're going to recap the Buffalo Bills and the Los Angeles Rams. We're going to go through the 15 remaining games, the 14 on Sunday, the Monday night game, which is Denver versus Seattle. And then we do it all over again next week, starting off with Ridiculously Raw with Anthony Florio on Monday night. So until then, guys, for Michael Bullock, from Anthony Florio, I'm Michael Fletcher. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video, leave a comment at the bottom. Share with all your friends on all the social media platforms. Have a good night, everybody. So long for now.
Goodbye.